what is leadership for you?
Leadership really, the more I grow into the the global professional environment, it's really facilitation. So you're, as leaders, what we really have to do, I believe, is facilitate the growth and the success of other people. So when, and a good leader is one who cares about their team
Mm-hmm.
and who really helps them grow. And when the team grows, the company, organization, NGO, government, whatever the setup is, grows with it. So it's sort of a, you, when you facilitate the growth of people, there's a momentum that builds and that carries the rest of the organization with this momentum. Um, so it's really helping people grow, helping understanding what the issues are, and that keeps people back from growing or keeps them from doing their job, helping them to remove the obstacles that is in the way of reaching their goals as a
Mm-hmm.
person and as a team and as a company, that that extends to the organization, to the society in general, depending on what the team is
Mm-hmm.
working on. Obviously, holding them accountable, but in a sense that, training people to hold themselves accountable first, and then as a facilitator, by default, you will hold them accountable, but it's really instilling a culture that it would be coming from them, not from you.
Mm-hmm.
So if the person is accountable to themselves, then by default they would be accountable to their team, to the company, etc. So leadership really for me is facilitating people's success and facilitating people's growth.
Yes, thank you so much for that. So, moving on to another perspective in terms of, we're now living the new normal. So, how would you define or describe the next normal?
Yeah, that's a good question that keeps changing every day. So the next normal is really being defined and redefined constantly. So it's in flux really. And I believe that's the key characteristic of the next normal, that is in constant change. So in order to be able to deal with something that is in flux, the key is really, flexibility, adaptability, and to try to see where things are going, how things are changing, but to really and try to understand the path, but really to accept that you're not going to be getting it right. I think that's a real learning for me, to accept that you're going to be wrong oftentimes, because there's so much, the changes are happening so rapidly. So if we take that as if we accept that we're going to be wrong,
Mm-hmm.
then you by default become more flexible, more agile, more quick to see if your vision and your strategy are still, viable, sustainable. If you have to, what kind of changes you have to make, when do you have to make the changes, and if you have the right tools to still be successful on the path that you set for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be very aware how relevant what you're doing is or is not in this constant flux of environment.
Right, right. So, um, what would you say is the top three problems that, leaders would normally face?
I mean, there's obviously a lot of challenges, but some of the common issues that I see, especially lately,
Mm-hmm.
are three sort of pillars. One is, um, there's a misconception that when people become C-level executives or business owners or board members, the misconception is that most people think that they made it, they don't need to do anything else, they're set. um, but really there's a lot of struggle going on internally, and also I find many leaders feeling isolated at the top. So that's one common theme that I've seen. So that's feeling isolated at the top is a common theme that I see, and a common challenge. The other common theme that I see and common challenge is um, the higher you up, the higher up you go, the higher leaders find the tougher they find it to really build trust, and to have really trusting relationships with people around them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's another common challenge in the team that I see. And then the third pillar that I see is building effective continuity. So continuity encompasses all facets of the organization. Is really one example could be effective succession planning, but continuity of the organization as a whole encompasses all departments and all stakeholders. So really, a big challenge of leaders that I do business with is and help them with is establishing that continuity, to make sure that their organizations are going to be there and be successful and sustainable for the next 20, 30, 50 years.
Great, great. Thank you for sharing. And so, having said that, these top problems that you've mentioned, what do you believe will be the most important leadership capabilities or skills that you must have in the next normal to be able to continue to lead effectively?
My belief in being a facilitator, in order to be an effective and a good facilitator, which facilitation for me is really leadership, is you have to be very, first of all, confident in that ability, that through facilitation, you don't need to be the star all the time, but you empower people. So in order to do that effectively and to be comfortable in that role as a leader, you have to be very confident in yourself, and in a sort of solid, grounded way of confidence. Some of the key skills are to be an extremely good listener in order to pick up what the real issues are, and not be and try to distill the noise from the real issues that are facing the company,
Mm-hmm.
or the organization or the organism, as Mark says.
Mm-hmm.
So extremely good listening skills, being patient, and finding the positive in things, and when you're going through a turmoil and a constant flux that we're going right now.
Thank you so much for that. So